So today I am going to be reading Pete the Cat, Valentine's Day is Cool, and I am also going to be evaluating it. This is the book. This is for lower elementary, and I would use this in my curriculum. One, it could be for a Valentine's Day theme. It also teaches a moral lesson, and it could be used for cause and effect. It could be used for character traits. There are several different things you could use this picture book for. So when you look at this book, you would obviously expect that it's about Valentine's Day, since Valentine's Day is coming up, and that it's about a pair of special friends here. So I'm going to read this book, and then I am going to talk about the evaluation. So this is Pete the Cat, Valentine's Day is Cool. This is by Kimberly and James Dean, and James Dean is the one that has been the illustrator for all the Pete the Cat books. It was the day before Valentine's Day, and Pete was riding his skateboard home when he saw his friend Callie. She was holding a big red heart that said, "Love." "Have you finished your Valentine's Day cards?" asked Callie. "No, Valentine's Day is not cool," said Pete. "Oh, Pete, Valentine's Day is my favorite holiday. It's a day to tell people how special they are to you," Callie insisted. Pete skated on, but something in the back of his mind told him that Callie might be right. By the time Pete got home, he had decided that Callie was right about Valentine's Day. So he got out his pencils, paper, crayons, and markers and sat down at the kitchen table. First, Pete started to work on a card for his friend Larry. Pete made several cards with big red hearts, but he was not happy with his work. Pete wanted to make the perfect cards for every cat in his class. "I'll never get all these cards done in time," Pete told his mom. Pete's mom smiled. "Just do your best," she said. "Just tell Larry why he is cool. There is something cool about every cat." Pete got back to work. He thought hard about what was cool about Larry. "Perfect," Pete said. After that, it didn't take Pete long to make cards for all the boys. Then Pete made special cards for all the girls and wrote "Love, Pete" on each one. And of course, he made the biggest heart-shaped card for his mom. The next day, Pete and Callie waited for the bus together. "I decided you were right. Valentine's Day is cool." "That's awesome," Callie said. "By the way, I'm having a Valentine's Day party at my house after school if you want to come." The bus pulled up then, and Pete and Callie got on. Mr. Ted, the bus driver, smiled and said, "Good morning." But as soon as they were in their seats, Pete put his head in his paws. "What's wrong?" Callie asked. "I forgot to make a card for Mr. Ted," he cried. Then Pete thought, "But I can make him an awesome card before we get to school." Pete pulled out a piece of paper and colored pencils from his backpack. He began to draw. "Happy Valentine's Day! Thanks for picking us up every day for school," Pete and Callie said as they handed Mr. Ted his Valentine. "Thank you," Mr. Ted told them. "You just made my day." "What about Mrs. Gold, the crossing guard? We need to make her a Valentine, too," Pete practically shouted. "Let's do it," Callie said. "Let's make Valentines for everyone." Pete and Callie got super busy making cards for everyone. After school, Pete went to Callie's party. He rang the bell and then he froze. Callie opened the door only to find her friend in a panic. "What's wrong, Pete?" "I forgot something very important," Pete admitted. "What?" Callie asked. "I just realized I forgot to make a card for you," Pete said. "That's okay, Pete. Cards are just a way of showing you care. Hanging out with you, that's way better than any card. This is the best Valentine's Day ever. And happy Valentine's Day to you. Love, Pete." So this is a cute little book. So before reading, we would think that this book is about Pete the Cat and his special friend. That's what we would anticipate from the title or from the cover. And this book, as I said earlier, this book is for lower elementary. The author reveals the characters through narration, but later on, as you notice, it's narration and it's conversation. And the characters are convincing because it shows that they're very caring, because they want to make Valentines for everyone. And in this story, Pete forgets to make Valentines for some people, and based on his behavior, he's caring enough to stop and take time to make Valentines for the people he has forgotten. And the plot, it does tell a good story, and I think children will enjoy it because it is something they can relate to. They all like Valentines, and they like giving them and receiving them and making them. And there's a logical series of happenings because Pete forgets about making a Valentine for someone, and then he makes one for them. The style is appropriate for the subject of the book, and the author created the mood of this book. Obviously, it's a Valentine's Day book, so it's about loving and caring for people, and I think the author really did that with this book, that it was more than just Valentine's. It was just finding what is great about people and telling them that you care. And the setting takes place in several places. So we know that they're at the bus stop and they're talking about Valentine's, and then they are on the bus, and that's when they make Mr. Ted his Valentine's. They're at the crosswalk. And then it also is at Callie's house. So that implies that it's during the school day because all of those things are during a school day. And then it talks about how he goes to Callie's house after school. And the setting does affect the characters because every time Pete goes somewhere, he realizes that he forgot to make a Valentine for someone every place that he was at. And I think the theme of this story was to show that Pete the Cat cared for people, and Callie helped him do that. And it's important to see the good in people and to show them that you appreciate them. And I think this is worth imparting to children because we want to teach children to be caring and thoughtful, obviously. And the theme emerges naturally from the story. And I think that the author, like I said earlier about the point of view, it started as narrating, but they also went to conversational as well. And I think that the author did this to tell the story, but when they start having their conversation, that helps give it a more personal connection between the characters. And, the illustrations do help enhance the story. Obviously, that's what we're looking for in a storybook, is that the pictures help go along with the story. And it helps us tell the story, and it also helps children get a picture in their mind of what is happening. But, you know, they see it on the page and it helps them. And I feel that the age group that would appreciate this story most, as I stated earlier, would be preschool through second grade. And also, as I said earlier, I would use this for curriculum and for English language learners, because anytime you read a book aloud to a student, it's going to help their English, it's going to help their fluency, their vocabulary, their comprehension, and things to that aspect. So I really enjoyed this book, and I hope you did too. Thank you.